going on, guys? It's your boy Zebs from DesignsAcademy, bringing you another tutorial today. And today I'm kind of going back to what I used to do a little bit, where I'd make new styles, make tutorials on them. And I'm going to be changing my format of how I make them a little bit, especially in the Photoshop version. And I also decided I'm going to include the whole PSD and everything like needed to make this in the description below. Because everything is kind of a pain to get and you kind of need specific things to do, like a style like this. So I decided, well, let's just include everything in a single download, and so that'll be in the description down below. And so basically today I'm going to be showing you how to make this pretty cool style. I made it a couple days ago. I don't even know what to call it. I just kind of like it a lot. But basically I'm just going to be going over the Cinema 4D, and then I'm going to be going into the Photoshop of what steps are taken to make something like this, and so that you can learn some new techniques and learn new ways to use like stocks and lighting and manipulate color correction so that you can make your own unique styles. So basically, let's get started. So it's all going to start out in Cinema 4D. I am going to be using my own personal Lightroom, which I cannot give out, but if you do want it, it's on my store, which is in the description down below. But I feel like most Lightrooms will do, they're all sufficient. But basically, the render part is super easy. That's what I really like about it, is that there's no complex modeling or anything involved with it. It's just a simple font, and everything else is done in Photoshop. So the font is called Raised Trend, and basically I'll show you what it looks like. So go MoGraph, MoText, and then I'm just gonna do Zebs again. Boom, and then we're gonna go into our font library, and we're gonna get Raised Trend. And basically, as you can see here, this font is really cool because it adds these like rigid lines on the edge, and that's what I found to be really cool, that I could do something cool with the tech. So basically, once you have the install file, you have it on here. I'm just gonna delete the logo really quick because we don't need this. And so once we have this, we're gonna go into our caps. We're gonna go fill a cap, and we're gonna set both of our radiuses to 1. And what this does is basically it smooths the edges on everything, so it's not so like rigid and sharp. It adds a nice like touch to it. It's not so sharp and it looks nicer. So once we've done this, what we're gonna go back to do is go back into Object. We're gonna change our depth to about 80. Yeah, 80 works. And then once we've done that, we're pretty much good to go. As you can see here, there's a lot of different things going on here, but all of this stuff is done in Photoshop. So basically we just have this simple, just plain, just white render, or I guess gray you could say, and we're just gonna render it out. So I'm just gonna quickly do that. Render. Boom. I already have a render on my desktop. I'm just gonna quickly render out. It shouldn't take too long because there's nothing really going on. Like, it's literally just a font and a blank render. So it should take fairly quick. Once we have that, we're now gonna go into Photoshop. I'm just gonna open a new YouTube overlay. Let's get rid of the crop tool. And then what we're gonna do is just open up the render as seen here. This one. And basically we're just gonna duplicate the layer, put it in our new thing here. Close that, we don't need it. And we're just gonna kind of resize it to a good place. Make it a little bit smaller. So just kind of like maybe even a little bit smaller. So something like this. You don't want it too big, just kind of in the middle. So once we have this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna duplicate it really quick, and then we're gonna get filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we're just gonna kind of increase it just a tad bit so that there's a little bit of glow to the render. I usually like to do these on all my renders because it makes them pop a little bit. So as I said in the beginning of the tutorial, I said I was gonna use a different technique than what I usually do. For this technique, I'm basically, I have the PSD here, and since I'm gonna like give it to you guys, it'll be in the description down below. I'm kind of just gonna go through each thing and basically show you effects I've done, and we're gonna kind of just go through it and like work on it together. So basically it's just like a pictured as a mini pack with all the stuff in it. So the first thing I usually always start with is the color correction, and I work around the color correction. That works really well because it makes the banner easier to blend, and it makes it overall a better working experience. So right here we have the 2 color corrections that I used here, and basically we're just going to quickly duplicate those, bring into the new thing here, and as you can see we already have a good look to it. It adds a nice fresh tone to it, you could say. So once we've done that, basically we're gonna start off by going back down here to our smoke, and we're just gonna open up our smoke and look through each thing here. Well, I guess we can't because I have this open. I'm just gonna drag this quickly down here. We're gonna drag this behind that. And so once we've done this, I'm just gonna take that off. And then, so once we've done this, all I'm going to do is now start off by changing the color of these little tabs. So what we're gonna do is, it's super simple, a little bit time consuming depending on like what you're gonna do. So all we're gonna do is get the pen tool. We have our render here, as you can see, and we're gonna make a new layer. We're gonna color fully on whatever you want. So just like a blue, I guess, in this case. We're gonna go color overlay. We're gonna make it like a nice red, rasterize layer style, and then create clipping mask. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna make a clipping mask over the render we just made, and it's gonna make everything orange. And what we're gonna do next is just lower the opacity down to maybe like 70%, maybe even a little less, like 40%. And what this is going to do is it's going to make everything look red, but it's still going to have that cool 3D like look to it. And as you can see here on this main one, we don't have red on these on the letters, or like the main part of the letters. We just have it on the rigid stuff. So all we're going to basically do is we're going to use our pen tool, and we're going to go over all the letters, and we're just going to quickly kind of just delete them. Super simple to do, and you don't even have to be really precise about it either. Like, you can go in between here. It's just kind of like on certain parts you want to be precise. Like right here, we're just gonna kind of just go through it, and we're just going to delete anything on the text that would be red. And so we're just gonna kind of go around, and like I said, it really doesn't have to be like precise on the exact pixel. You can just kind of skim through it. And then when it comes to like certain parts like this is when you're going to want to kind of be a little bit more precise about it, I should say. So I'm thinking maybe we'll do cut through here, do this. Basically we're just gonna cut through all of this stuff, boom. And then if there's some things that you missed, like I did right here, you can go through it again. And down there too. So as you can see there, we kind of have a basic like start of what's going to happen. So I'm just going to quickly speed this up so that you don't have to sit through and watch me basically highlight everything and go through it. So I just finished deleting all the red on the main text, so now we have this cool looking already, like all the edges are red and the main text is like white. So now what I want to do next is add a cool little effect over this white looking part. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go into this layer style we made with all the red, and we're going to go outer glow, and we're just going to turn our blend mode to normal, and you can adjust the opacity of how much you want of this. But basically what it does is it adds a like darkness to it and some more depth on the front of the text. So I'm just gonna leave it at like maybe like 45, and so yeah, there's that part. So now we're gonna go back into our smoke, and we're just going to kind of go over each thing and kind of just a readjustment to everything. So we're just gonna kind of, so what these are little red spikes, I'm just gonna kind of go down the list and just kind of reshape them to where they should be. You guys probably can't see much of it yet, just due to the fact that I haven't added much of the lighting. So let me see here. Oh, I also forgot something crucial about the color correction. Let's see. Alright, so I'm back. I just made a quick mistake, I just realized. So basically, why this was looking so weird and I was like, huh, and kind of just going with this, is that all both the color corrections were up on top of the top order. So basically what we're going to do is just quickly drag them down. And now we'll have the look that we're looking for. For some reason it wasn't working before. It was just dragged up here, which was kind of odd. That's why I was like, this doesn't look right. So basically we have this going, and now things are a little bit easier to see for you, probably because of the color corrections being in the proper spot now. So basically now we're just going to continue dragging each thing down. Super simple. That's what kind of makes this new technique of like the way I'm teaching things a little bit easier, is I'm just gonna make something and then use a PSD and then kind of just use the stuff from there instead of going through all my packs individually again. Saves time. So basically just smoke, you can adjust these smokes to wherever you want. I usually just keep them in the center to give us a little bit more depth to them. So once we have the smoke done, we can close that tab and we can kind of just continue going through the list, you could say. So next up would be the smoke background. Just copy and paste that. We're just gonna, everything's up top, so we're just gonna kind of drag each thing down to fit the banner. These, I feel like what really made the banner cool are these like cell looking things, and I just lowered the opacity a bunch on them and kind of used it as like a thick smoke look to them. Really cool stuff. And make sure with these right here, the opacity is set to 18. So once we have that, we're now going to go back in, same thing. Flares I didn't do too much, they're just kind of like little details to them that I found that helped me before I was adding everything else. So we're just going to drag the flares down, and then we're going to drag that above the smoke background, so it's behind the render, but it's still above the smokestacks. So once we've done that, what we're going to do next is kind of just, it's simple, we're just going to go through the list. A lot of the cool stuff happened with the glitches. That's where I really was like, wow, this is really coming together. This is a cool sound. So this is that. So we're gonna go over this top of the. Okay, this goes over the render. Boom. So what this top piece is if I zoom in, I added some like tech, like a motherboard kind of look to the front of the text. To add a little bit more detail to it, to give it the tech vibes, you could say. So I'm just gonna lower this down. Basically just a bunch of stocks I lowered the opacity on. A lot of the cool stuff happened when I finished everything and decided to basically post-production. Basically you just drag everything down. Like, I didn't use too much, just some simple stocks, and you can make some really cool things with it. So as you can see here, the banner's already starting to come together, mostly from the cell in the background and these glitch effects in the front. So once we've done that, we're just like simple, we're just gonna keep going. I have a folder for more glitching. Same drag and drop, except this one's more of like lighting. I added some blue lighting to it. And this one I have just kind of like randomized all around the canvas. And what this does is it adds a little bit more like lighting to it, and makes, I feel like personally, makes the glitch effects stand out a little bit more by using these blue lightings. So basically that's literally everything I did for this part, for the stocks and everything, which I said was going to be down in the description below. So once we have all that, now we're going to kind of get into the post-production, which is like blurring, more aggressive effects, you could say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything on the canvas, so the black and overlay and everything, and we're going to do Control G. What this does is it groups it. We're going to do Control J, and what that does is it duplicates it, and we're just going to merge it. Merge it so it's a single image. We're going to duplicate that now, and we're going to go Filter, Other, High Pass, and we're going to use 2.0 for the pixels. And what this does is it acts as like a sharpening tool. So once we've done that, we're gonna go from normal to overlay. And as you can see here, if I select and deselect it, you can see everything is much sharper in this newer image. So we're just now gonna merge these two together, the two layers, and duplicate it again. Simple process of just duplicating and whatnot. And once we're done that, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into Gaussian blur. We're just gonna turn it down a little bit. And you're just gonna kind of erase little parts of the banner. Nothing too much, just a little bit, just to add a little bit more like depth to it, like what I did here, or yeah, on this final one here. So once we've done that, we're just gonna merge that together again, like so. Duplicate, and then once we've done that, I feel like a broken record here. We're gonna go into Magic Bullet Looks, Photo Looks. Now this part is optional, it's not like a required part, but we're going to basically have the thing here. We're gonna go to the right, and depending on the version, I know some things can be different, but basically you're gonna get an anamorphic flare, drag and drop and drag, and we're just gonna kind of rate or lower the threshold a little bit so they pop up, a little bit like so. So 200%. Boost you don't need to worry about, but mostly just the threshold and the size. What the size does is if you lower it, it doesn't like go across the whole screen, but I kind of like it at 200%, so I'm just going to leave it there. So threshold is kind of the thickness of it, you could say. So we're just going to apply that. It'll take a second, so once we do that, we'll just kind of wait a second. There we go. So as you see here, we do have our anamorphic flare over it, and we're just going to kind of lower the opacity on it so it's not so strong. Maybe like 40% works. It's up to you. All these percentages I'm getting, you can like change to your liking if you want to do something different. And then once we've done that, we're going to open it up, so double click on it. And what this will do is it'll give us the options to change things however you like. And we're going to go into the bevel and emboss, or no, not the bevel and emboss, the blending options, I mean. And we're going to check the G right here, which stands for green, the green channel. And on your keyboard, you have the arrow keys. You're just going to kind of move this layer a few times to the right. And what this does is, as you can see here, when I zoom in, it moved the duplicate to the right a little bit. So as you can see here, this is what it normally looks like, and me moving it kind of adds like this 3D look to it, which I feel like also helps a lot when it comes to the text style. So once we've done that, we're going to merge it together, duplicate it one last time, and now with this duplicated one, we're going to go into our square here, our rectangular marking tool, and hold shift while you do this, but we're going to make some small little rectangles. Once you make the first one, hold shift so that you can make more than just one, and just kind of go over the banner, making these thin, long rectangles. And what this is going to do is it's going to amplify the glitch effect even more, because things are going to be kind of glitching, you could say. There's a reason it's called the glitch effect. So once you've done that, you can let go of shift, and then we're going to go into our select tool, and we're going to do the same thing with what we did with the green masking, or the green channel tool. So just move it to the right a few times, and we can deselect it. And as you can see here, it added some glitch looks here, which I feel like also helps a lot with making this style. Adds more to the glitchiness. So that's basically everything I did. I guess things are a little bit different than the original, but for the most part, I would say they're pretty much similar. I guess this one's a little bit darker and whatnot with lighting, but for the most part, they're pretty much the same. So it's a super simple banner, or style I should say. Like, there's not a lot of work involved when it came in the Cinema 4D part, and since I gave you guys a pack, it's not really a lot of work for you guys to make something, so you guys can make a quick free really cool looking banner to pimp out your profile or your YouTube channel. So that's been everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. It's been your host today, Zebs. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the tutorial, leave a like and subscribe for more future content. And I am out. Peace.